Good afternoon, guys. Karen here, coming to you from my scrap room, and I'm sharing with you today the technique to create this chevron element on your paper. Now, I'm sure there are many different ways. There's lots of videos online for how to do it. It can be punched out of paper so that it's all one strip. You can miter the corners. I have chosen just to do just kind of overlapping pieces here on this. This is the right-hand page of layout 1 from my Daisy Meadows Scrapbooking Workshop. I'm going to put together the left-hand page for you and show you how I do this, kind of my technique for creating the chevron element on your page. So I'm going to do this upside down a little bit just because of where I am facing. Otherwise, I'm going to be leaning constantly across the paper. So what I do, I take my trusty ruler, my pencil, and I am going to mark a line that is 1 1/4 inches. Just lining up my ruler down from the top of my white daisy paper. Now, these strips, to do this, to create this border, I used 6 strips of each of these colors. These strips are all 3/4 inch wide by 3 inches long. If you are doing a larger size strip or smaller size strip, you're going to need different numbers of strips. This is what I'm using for this. So play around with it if you're using another size strip. Basic math to this is the dimension between the 2 points of your chevron, the upper points, is going to be the length of your strips. A little bit of math if you need to do what you need to do with it. So what I am going to do is I am going to mark every 3 inches along my border here. Along my pencil line here, just as a kind of a reference point for me as I am putting this on the page. So what I do, this is kind of my way of doing it, is I am going to start with kind of create myself. Just want to make sure I'm going in the right direction. That I am going to basically do it so that I start with my first V, basically. This is kind of the way I do it. Like I said, everybody else does it a little differently. Put some adhesive on the back here. Now, when I create this, I'm going to have the right corner here, just at that edge of the page, and my corner over here is going to be close to that 3 mark. I mean, that's as close as you can get it. That's kind of what we're looking for. And then I'm going to start building across from there. So the nice thing about it is if your cuts are straight, this is going to line up easily as you go across. And of course, if you do have, I think I have some pieces here that might be a little bit longer. Let me just grab my scissors, because if I have something that's slightly longer than 3 inches, its course is not going to fit well. So I'm just going to do a little trim. So, and then my next piece, and of course nothing's ever completely perfect, but hey, who expects this all to be perfect in our scrapbooking? There's always little mistakes. So my last piece here, I'm just gonna trim this one because this one is a little longer than I expected. Thought I had all 3 inch cuts, but maybe I didn't. All right, so I have my one layer. Now I'm going to follow through with my remaining layers. And again, with the first piece of it, I always kind of create that V so that I can make sure that I am in the right spot. Because what I'm going to do is make sure it tucks neatly under this layer and goes across the page. So basically, this is what I'm doing. I'm just going to build it layer by layer. And, as you go, if you realize something's a little long, just trim it. And then what I'm going to do at the end is I'm going to trim off. That's why I keep my scissors with me, so that I can do a nice little trim of the paper if I need to. And then just a couple more, and we'll move on to the third layer on this. Now, if you wanted, this is something like you wanted to do on a layout, and you want to have it where it goes fully across, then you're just going to need a few more pieces. Probably, in this case, I do cut 2 more strips of each pattern paper. But for what I'm doing, I'm going to be covering it with some more pattern paper for the sketch. And let's just get this. So, like I said, it's just tucking it in on each piece. First part is I tend to just do a little bit of I create the V ahead of time before I place it on the page, just to make sure that I have the correct angle in it. And then this, and one last strip. And this will tuck under here. And then I'm going to trim off. I'm going to go around on the back. Use my handy dandy micro tip scissors, the Teflon ones, because they don't stick to the adhesive, which is great. Love these scissors. They're probably one of my favorite tools. And now I'm going to go in and just carefully erase my pencil line and marks. Get that off of there. These white erasers are definitely another one of my favorite tools. So there is my chevron element. Let me just add my pattern paper so you can see how this looks once you get the full version of it. And my little tendency is to line pieces up across my mats. There we go. And that covers the seam nicely. So just my last little zip strip piece here. And oops, this page is now done. Oh, I should say, now I'm ready to add my photos, my title, and my embellishments to finish off this layout. But there you go, guys. A little quick how to put together a chevron element on your papers. And I hope you guys enjoy it. And if you use this technique, I'd love to see what you create with it. Please share with me. I hope you enjoyed this and have a wonderful day.